Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Penn Vicarage on this lovely morning. Great to see you again. Hope you had a lovely half term. Hope you had a great lie-in yesterday morning with extra hour in bed, and great to see you, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you also to Glyn and Deb for their wonderful reflections last week about Old Testament characters, and there's actually quite a bit of Old Testament in our reading for this morning. To set the context, we are returning to the Gospel of Mark. Just to remind you where we're at, Jesus has gone to Jerusalem for the final showdown. He's arrived on Palm Sunday. He's billeting, if you might say, a couple of miles away in Bethany, but he comes into Jerusalem every day, and he's cleared the temple. And in chapter 12, he gets some questioning, and you might say it's hostile questioning. And you very much get the impression that they all have a go. The scribes have a go, the Pharisees have a go, the Herodians have a go, the Sadducees have a go. They all seem to have a go. And it ended, last time I did the Bible talk a week or so ago, with these devastating words that from there on in it says, no one dared ask him any more questions. In other words, he's answered so well, he kind of shut them up basically, and no one dared ask him anything else. So here at the end of chapter 12, the tables start to get turned. And instead of them asking Jesus questions, Jesus starts asking questions of them. Which I suppose is something that happens to us as well. Jesus asks questions of us too. And to set the scene, so you get the full context, that the location here is very important too. Bear in mind, as we'll find out in a moment, this happens in the temple. Bear in mind, Jesus is asking them these questions right at the centre of Judaism. It'd be a bit like somebody questioning the Pope in the middle of St. Peter's Square or the Sistine Chapel or something. Or somebody criticising Islam in the middle of Mecca or that kind of thing. Here he is in the temple asking questions, and some quite devastating questions in return as well. So feel the drama while this is going on. They've asked him loads of questions, he silenced them all, no one did ask him anything else, and now he asks questions of them. So without further ado, Mark's Gospel, chapter 12, starting to read at verse 35. While Jesus was teaching in the temple, he said, "How can the scribes say that the Messiah is the son of David? David himself, by the Holy Spirit, declared, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put my enemies under your feet.' David himself calls him Lord, so how can he be his son?" And the large crowd was listening to him with delight. As he taught, he said, "Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and have the best seats in the synagogues and the places of honour at banquets. They devour widows' houses and for the sake of appearance say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. And he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on." And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So, I think this passage is basically in 2 parts, but like I say, in both parts, Jesus is asking questions, and he's basically saying to many people that they need to have a serious rethink. In lots of ways, they've been getting things wrong. In the first bit, Jesus quotes what is surprisingly enough the most quoted Old Testament passage in the whole of the New. It's not what you think. The most quoted passage in the whole of the Old Testament is this bizarre little psalm, Psalm 110. And Jesus quotes it here. As I say, it's more quoted than any other Old Testament passage in the whole of the New. It's Psalm 110. And he's talking really about the Messiah. And he's basically saying to the teachers of the law that they've got it wrong up to now. They've always said that the Messiah is to be the son of David. He used to be of the lineage, he used to be the son of David. And what Jesus uses here is Psalm 110 to point out that they haven't quite got that right, you might say. I'll try and explain to you. It's a bit complicated, but I'll put your thinking caps on. I'll try and explain to you. Psalm 110 begins, "The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool," and so on. To understand, you've got to understand what's happening here. The Lord, the first one, means big G, God, Yahweh, God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, that one, said to my Lord being the Messiah, sit at my right hand. So what he's saying is, Big G said to my Lord, sit at my right hand, and so on and so on and so on. And Jesus' argument is this: David wrote the Psalms, and therefore how can he be calling the second one the Lord when he is his great grandson? Shouldn't the Messiah be calling him Lord because he's the older one? And the point Jesus is making here is the Messiah isn't just to be the son of David. That's not what's important. The point Jesus is making here is that the Messiah is to be the Son of God. That he's much more than just the son of David. That the Messiah is to be the Son of God. And again, it goes back to the theme which you've had in Mark's Gospel again and again and again. The things that Jesus did pointing to the fact that he is divine. You know, stilling the storm, casting out demons, forgiving sin. All these things, again, pointing to the Messiahship of Jesus. But he's not just a good man. That he's actually divine, that he's the Son of God. That there's divinity behind him as well. That God is with him. That he is more than, so much more than, just a good person. And here he's saying the Messiah isn't just the son of David. He's actually the Son of God as well. So he's saying, you know, widen your horizons, widen your picture. Messiah isn't just the son of David. He's the Son of God too. And I think the second part, though, in the second bit, Jesus does a bit of people watching. And I think the point he's making here is that we shouldn't judge by appearances. That God looks at the heart. And that real faith, real Christian faith, you might say, is about the heart, not about the appearance. So he talks firstly about these rulers and rulers of the synagogue who love looking good, who've got all the right robes and they like sitting in all the right places. But he says, a bit like in the Old Testament, when the people were bad shepherds and they were simply in it for themselves, re Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Isaiah, and so on. But those Old Testament leaders that actually were only in it for themselves. He's basically saying is these people here are only in it for themselves. They're only in it because they like looking good, they like wearing long robes, they like sitting in good seats, and so on. And I have to say, reading this, I find it quite extremely challenging. I mean, clergy love their long robes. I've got a lovely red button number, which I love wearing, if I'm honest with you. And I think the point making here is it isn't just about looking good. It's actually about service as well. But what he's saying about these people here is don't judge by appearances. On one hand, you've got these people who look good because they wear the right robes and they look good and they look impressive and they like the titles and they like the seats and that sort of stuff. But in fine sight, they're actually bad leaders like the Old Testament shepherds were. And he contrasts that with this poor widow who goes into the temple. And when everyone else are putting their great sums in, she puts in these 2 coins, which are barely anything. But Jesus points out she gave everything she had. So the point Jesus, I think, is making here is don't judge by appearances. Don't judge just these first people. They looked good, but actually their hearts were wrong. They looked good because they wore the right trappings and they sat in the right places and they wore the right trimmings and so on. But inside their hearts were miles away because they were simply in it for themselves and for what they can get out of it. On the other hand, you've got this woman who doesn't look much. She hasn't put much into the treasury. But in reality, in God's perspective, she's given everything she had. So real faith is not about what looks good. Real faith is what's really going on in the heart. And I think that's what Jesus is saying here in the temple here this morning. So, Jesus has turned the questioning around. So far, he's taken a right shellacking questioning-wise. Now he turns it around. The first bit he points out that the Messiah is so much more than the Son of David. Sure, descended from David maybe, but actually so much more than. He's actually the Son of God, which is much bigger and much better. And secondly, he's saying, don't judge by appearances, because there are people out there who look good and look impressive, but whose hearts are miles away. On the other hand, there are people who don't look impressive, who look like this poor widow, who don't, on the face of it, put very much in, but actually, they're absolutely right. And their hearts are right with God. And because God looks at the heart, that's what's really important. More tomorrow. God bless you. Have a lovely day. Great to be back. It's good to see you this morning. Enjoy the day, and more Mark's Gospel tomorrow.